Okay, hello, welcome back to another game of chess. Today we are playing the England Gambit against d4 from my opponent. They advance. What is going on? Okay, we'll play knight f6. I guess this is now what happens when your opponent does not accept the England Gambit. I think I'm going to go bishop c5, get the bishop out first, and then play d6. This seems like a reasonable approach. I mean, knight a4 is an option, but bishop e6, knight b6, a b6 seems completely fine. And I think we're just going to try and play c6. Actually, I might play bishop f5 first, because it makes it just that bit harder for white to play e4, which is obviously going to be a nice move to secure this advanced d-pawn. So yeah, we see, yeah, look, e3. Now when I play c6, actually, I all of a sudden really like my position because I can just take. Then my opponent takes here. Perhaps not the best idea. No, you know what? We're going for it. You can have this. Have this pawn. I'll play knight d7. Bang. I've got all my pieces developed. I'm going to get some tempo on your queen. This, I'm going to call it a gambit. And yeah, my opponent's king, rather, is still in the center of the board. I can take here, then they take here. Then I can go there. I like that. We'll play knight takes. We might see pawn takes here. But then all of a sudden, like, knight b6, or even, like, rook b8, I don't know, the queen doesn't have that many squares. a6 does seem to be a pretty good square. However, yeah, now we can just play bishop e6. And I seem to have a lot more development than my opponent. I reckon we can play knight b6 with tempo as well. Get this knight more active. And this queen just doesn't really seem to be in a great place. That move makes a lot of sense, of course, supporting this c4 pawn. However, I'm thinking maybe f5 and trying to play e5, but it sort of just improves where my opponent's bishop will inevitably be. So, actually, if I just now castle, which I'm obviously going to do kingside because I don't have c or b pawns, and I've pushed my d pawn, so how the hell am I castling queenside? Then, you know, maybe we can create something over here. It's not very clear where my opponent's king's going. Now they go for e4. So, I don't know. I feel like my position is nice enough to be compensation for the pawn that I'm down. I can play bishop d4. And there's no bishop b2, of course. That just hangs. So, bishop d4, you pretty much just have to play rook b1. Which isn't the nicest move to play. Although, will my bishop then just be attacked when it's on d4 and then have to move back? Most likely. I think I'm actually going to strike with f5. In fact, that's a really obvious... I don't even know why I hesitated over that. I want to open up the f-file, of course, onto this juicy f2 square here. My opponent's king's still in the center, and all their pieces still on the back rank, except from the queen, of course. Now I can open this up. This feels like I have to do this. There's just problems here now. I mean, yes, queen takes, and you have to play queen takes, otherwise it's a fork. But say I play this, I know bishop f5 seems reasonable. There's also a check at some point, but we just see bishop d2, and it doesn't really feel like we gain anything from that. I could play d5. Having broken with f5, d5 takes. Oh, now that could be really cool. Should I go for d5? Oh, you know what? We're playing... Ooh, whoa. d5 takes here, and then this bishop's hanging. Yeah, let's not play d5. I thought it was a little too destabilizing to be true. Okay, I'm going to go for bishop f5, which I'm not the biggest fan of because it does sort of block up the f-file a little. However, again, this queen is just out. My opponent has made an excessive amount of queen moves. They threaten... my queen. Whoa. Now I can take this, draw the knight off of here, and surely that's really good. Because then all I do is move this bishop, and I'm threatening this. Although bishop e3, you might just get time to play that. I could go queen takes, knight takes, and then play bishop d4, and trap the rook. Oh, sweet. Yeah, I think we already have a win. No, but I don't trap the rook because this hangs. Because knight takes this. No, I do. Okay, awesome. Sorry, I'm just a bit stressed. Queen takes queen. Trade the queens off. And after investing about 9 million moves into moving their queen, my opponent has now not got it on the board. Now bishop d4, and the rook's got no moves. Yes, you can take my bishop, but I can just take the rook. So I think this is really strong, actually. Just what an active bishop pair. And yeah, my opponent didn't get to move either of their bishops. Now, I'm sure this is actually not that winning for me, because my opponent will still be left with a bishop pair. They can play knight takes bishop here. And in fact, if knight takes bishop, I might play rook takes knight, because then I'm threatening this and also the rook. And so do you actually have time? Like we see knight takes bishop, rook takes here, then rook b1, but then I go check. Or maybe even rook takes here. Okay, I'm not sure, but what I am sure of is that I'm a big fan of my position. I have completely active bishop pair. This knight on b6 could improve, but I think, you know, knight d7, knight c5 is just going to be looking really strong. That seems like a lovely way to reroute the knight. They have left the game. I can claim victory in 70 seconds. They may have rage quit with this unbelievable bishop pair. We may have seen a rage quit here. And it has been 70 seconds since my opponent has left the game. I believe we have just seen a rage quit. I'm going to just claim the victory here. I'm not calling this a draw. We claim the victory and win the game. Let's look at the analysis to just check that we are, in fact, winning. Okay, so here we are in the analysis. Let's go through the game. So my opponent played d4. Of course, I'm playing e5 here. This does have a huge question mark next to it for the observant amongst you. Obviously, we are hoping for this England Gambit line that I believe I've shown on my channel before, perhaps twice, where you get to sack your queen on c3. And I believe Armand Hambleton, Eric Rosen play it. It's a really cool position. Very easy for white to fall into some traps. Like, for instance, this knight is just dead lost here. Always looking to try and play this, and there's many traps along the way. However, my opponent says no. They push past this this England Gambit, which is not a good move. You should just accept an England Gambit. Sorry about that. You know, if you see it, unless you're playing, you know, the likes of Eric Rosen or Armand Hamilton. Anyway, knight c6 here, attacking the pawn, rather knight f6. The pawn comes to c4 to defend, get the bishop out, and then play d6. Just pretty simple ideas. Don't want to play d6 before getting the bishop out, so obviously that's why you go for that move order, because you don't want to trap your dark square bishop under a pyramid of pawns. Then h3 was just quite a slow move. The computer actually wants me to go to d4 straight away, which is pretty funny. However, we see bishop f5 from me, trying to make it hard to play e4, because obviously e4 here would not be a great move, because we can go knight takes here and bishop takes. And let's just turn on the engine to double check I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, of course, it is pretty much completely winning for black already in that position. So trying to make it harder to play e4, so that when I play c6, this is a less secure pawn. So we saw e3 then. I went for c6, which was a slight inaccuracy, but, you know, still relatively fine. Then the queen here comes to b3, which looks scary, but hopefully I played the best move. Queen takes here was an inaccuracy, and I actually played this correctly. Knight d7. Wait, the eval goes down slightly there. Let me just turn the engine on. Okay, it does want knight d7. It just messes around sometimes. And then my opponent played knight takes on d5, to which I then took the knight. I should have castled, actually, because I didn't need to take this knight, because, you know, the knight's not threatening to take mine. I can just take with the knight as well. That would be removing their only active piece, so I should have just castled straight away, and probably lifted the queen and got the rooks over, probably to like c and b, and like made a huge attack on this side of the board. However, we took here, queen takes, and I just dropped the bishop back. I should have gone straight to b8 with the rook. However, after the queen moves and knight b6, just going after the weaknesses and trying to get tempo with the queen, I'm left, as I said, with a nice active bishop pair and a nice active position. So my opponent plays b3 here. And yeah, this e4 move then drastically weakened all of the dark squares here, and this bishop is probably my most active piece. I should have gone straight for bishop d4, actually, which is pretty funny. Let's turn on the engine, because I did say that it wants queen b1. Why not rook b1? Oh, because then I go for f5. And I've drawn the... Oh, and then there's this. Okay, yeah, that's actually quite clever. I'm kind of disappointed I didn't see that, actually. However, we played f5. Similar sort of idea. Taking here, trying to open it up. My opponent's king's in the center, and they just haven't developed anything. So queen takes here. Bishop comes to f5, best move. Queen goes across, best move. And I should have then played e4. And after queen takes queen, rook takes queen, the knight moves. I drop back. And I'm just better here. My opponent's up a pawn, but I'm just much better. Because I guess this knight is actually, like, not doing well at all. You're going to have to play, like, g3 and come back here. This endgame, I just have much more active pieces. And I guess these dark squares are also super weak. So, fair enough. However, I decided to trade the queens, which the computer does not like. But still leaves me in a good position, because then I played bishop d4. And, yeah, minus 1.4 is the evaluation. I mean, it's just a sort of pretty simple-looking tactical win. So, I think that's obviously why I spotted it. However, yeah, this is by no means completely lost for white, although I thought this was sort of practically going to be very hard to play for them. So, knight takes bishop, and wait, actually, let me guess. After knight takes bishop, I think I probably would have played rook takes knight, because of the fact you're threatening this. And I don't think I should have taken this. I'm not sure. We will see. Okay. Awesome. Okay, it wants rook takes knight. That's good. If I'd taken the rook, actually I'm not doing well at all. Because I'm assuming, yeah, so you can solidify this. I can go here to hold, but then, well, the king just goes up. And I guess you're going to get some move attacking my bishop. Or even, yeah, bishop a3 attacking this. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So actually, I shouldn't have taken the rook had the game continued. I would have taken the knight, which I think I would have played, yeah. And after rook b1, takes with bishop or rook? I don't know, probably either. The computer wants rook. Okay, how bad is it if you take with bishop? It's equal. Okay, king moves here, and then you go back. And I guess, actually, yeah, you just want a pawn. And black's going to be, rather, white's going to be able to develop quite easily. That's fair enough. So if you take with rook, yeah, hopefully if I'd gotten to this position here, I'd have taken with rook. Because actually, looking at it, rook f8, the fact this pawn's so weak, the fact this rook can't lift because of the bishop, this rook has no moves, this rook can't move. Black's king is really weak, and taking this also means you've got a passed e-pawn. It all just looks very good for me. So, I mean, bishop here's the best move. Then, okay, yeah, rook f8. The rook should come here. Okay. But the point is that also this bishop's tied to this pawn. Yeah, it's not good. So the rook comes here, and just as an example of a potential way this could go, apparently you're supposed to just give that pawn away. Let's say, for instance, we see bishops are here. Then, yeah, it's almost completely lost because the knight just gets in. The king's very suppressed, and yeah, we're gonna most likely win this game. Would have been nice to play it out. However, also pretty cool to. I'm gonna claim that my opponent rage quit there. By the way, there is a, you know, perhaps they just disconnected, but we're gonna say that they've rage quit because their Wi-Fi bars were on max, but they left the game. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you're new to the channel, I'd really appreciate a subscribe. I'm trying to get the channel to 1,000 subs by the end of the year. I'm nearly at 700, I believe, so that would be an awesome milestone to hit. 750 coming up as well. Awesome. So yeah, any help with that, I'd really appreciate. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.